Once I saw a joke, maybe I don't feel allowed to mention this Reader's Digest. A guy comes and says he comes to give his Russia. There's only two people there, so he's about not to give a droshes. He says, the guy's name. He says, listen, I work with cows. I don't know about droshes, but I know if two cows show up, I give them food. Oh, so he begins whatever it is, they give his servants, he gives them full koyach and everything. When he finishes, the guy looks at this. I don't know anything about drushes. I know about cows. I know if two cows come, I don't give the full food. I don't give everything. You cut it down to two cows, like. Very good. That's the best reason. That's the best reason that could be. The whole purpose of the shmuz is to get caught in the taisus. That's the purpose of the shmuz. To give the energy to get caught in the taisus. Much more important than the shmuz. So I will say over something, just cute things in the meantime. It is from the Grove. This week we begin the Arba Pashiyos. You know that in Chodesh Adar, even though we begin it on Shabbos Mevarchim, even before Rosh Chodesh Adar, we begin one of the four parashiyos. We always have preceding Nisan. First we have Parshas Shkolim, the mitzvah that was at the time of the Beis Hamikdash, that each person would have to give the amount of half a shekel, and this would go to have his portion in the Kabbanot Tzibur. And because every day there was the Talmud Shel Shachar and Talmud Shel Ben Abayim and the Yontif Musaf, and where did they take the money? This was not the korban. Who would pay for this? So this is the korban of Klal Yisrael. So all Klal Yisrael had to have a portion of these korbanos. And when would they donate every? And there's they interpreted from a pasuk and from a verse in the Torah that there had to be a new hatrama. How do you translate that in English? A new donation once a year, and in Chodesh Nisan they would begin the kabbanis, like it says in the Torah, Chodesh Hazel Lechem Rosh Chodashim. Nisan would begin the kabbanis of the new donation of the tzibur. One took for once a year. In the month of Adar, one collected the Mekhtsas HaShekel, and this was the money which went for the kabbanis of tzibur from Nisan to Adar. And Nisan would begin the Nusa every year. And when one would begin to be machriz on this mitzvah of giving the Mekhtsas HaShekel, Rosh Chodesh Adar, machrizim al hashkolim val haklayim. Two things they would say, the Mishnah says, the one would announce, the mitzvah of giving the new Mekhtsas HaShekel for the new Kabbanas Tzibur. And so, we don't have the Beis Hamikdash today, we don't have Kabbanas Tzibur, but still, we know, Zois Teiras Ha'oila, Ha'oisik V'Teiras Oila, Ki'il Hikriv Oila, when you study the Torah of the Kabbanas, we begin now Chumash Vayikra, it's as if you bring, when you study the Torah of the Kabbanas, it's as if you give the Kabbanas. So in the same way, even though we don't have the mitzvah of Kabbanas actually, and we don't give a donation of money for the Kabbanas, but we still have a heart. And the concept is to be ma'ira, to awaken the nedivus halev, the wish of the heart to give something to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to give kabbanis. And we say that the reading in the Torah of the mitzvah of giving the Mekhtsas HaShekel, this should be considered as if we gave now Mekhtsas HaShekel, as if we gave this shkolim for the kabbanis of the following year. Zeicha to the Mekhtsas HaShekel, that's Pasha Shkolim, because that was a mitzvah time, Beis Hamikdash, to have a portion in the korban tzibur, which was nikrav, sacrificed every single day. Now, maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't heard it. This was the cute thing that I wanted to say. It's very interesting. The mitzvah was specifically versus all the other donations to the Mishkan, that everything was according to the divas liboy, according to the desire of his heart. Some gave more, some gave less, some gave more valuable things, less valuable things. Here the mitzvah was, because it's the korban tzibur of all Klal Yisrael together, nobody was allowed to have a greater part or a smaller part. Everybody had to have the same amount. Ha'ashir lo yarabeh v'hadal lo yamit. The Osher wasn't allowed to give more, and the Ani wasn't allowed to give less. It's written specifically in the Torah. Each one had to give specifically exactly the same amount. And the amount that was fixed is the amount Mekhtsas HaShekel, half of the shekel, Esrim Geira HaShekel, which is some interesting. I think it's not a mikra. The shekel is Esrim. Afterwards, they increased it to Esrim B'Arba Geira. A Geira is moist. And so the shekel was 20 moist kesef, and a half of that meant 10 Geira, 10 moist. I don't think it's a mikra that the half corresponds to Asara Maimoris, Asara Sadibris. I'm sure it's connected. You have to go into deeper, but I'm sure it's connected. Mekhtsas HaShekel. And now this in the Mekhtsas, why did it have to be specifically a chetzi? We'll talk about it in a minute, ideas about it, but there's a vort from the Gra, maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't. It's a cute vort, but it's not just cute as it is to be insulting to Torah. Torah is not just cute. But Torah is Ba'imed Berumei Shalaylam. It goes to the upper worlds and Kabbalah and everything, to the secrets of the Torah. But he says something like this. He says, if you analyze the word Mekhtsas, it's fascinating, this word, because it looks like maybe, anyway, you judge yourself. You have, what is the middle letter of Mekhtsas? Tzadik. Tzadik reminds us of which mitzvah, which mitzvah is similar to the mitzvah Mekhtsas Shekel. It falls into the general category of a mitzvah which we have today too. What's the name of that mitzvah? Tzedakah. Tzadik. Tzedakah. Miloshin tzadik. Tzedakah. The word tzadik, by the way, and tzedakah, just the maimah, how you say maimah muskin parentheses. Why is it called tzedakah? B'tzedek tishbot amisecha. Judge your friend favorably. B'tzedek. What does tzedek mean? Tzedek is justice. Why is tzedakah? The word tzedek. Oy hate tzedakah mishpat. We find tzedakah by mishpat. Justice. Fear of justice is called tzedek. Tzedek tirvav. Run after justice, righteousness. Why is tzedakah called tzedakah? I don't know how to call it chesed. Why do you call it tzedakah? What's the reason that it's called tzedakah? The answer to this is that tzedek, tzedakah, if you look at it from the hashkafa of a guy, for example, or a person that didn't learn Torah or anything about divine providence, tzedakah is an extra act. You're being an extra nice guy. It doesn't have anything to do with tzedek. So if you don't do tzedek, you're not just not being a nice guy. The opposite of tzedek is an injustice, is avel, something which is crooked. Tzedek is righteousness, it's straight. That means to give tzedakah is to be righteous and right, to be straight, not to be crooked. Why? How could it be? It's turning things right. So what is the concept? Why is tzedakah called, the very name of tzedakah is to turn things right, not to be crooked. You know why? So let's go back. Why should one man have more and one man have less? Everybody comes to this world equal. Why should Hashem give one more, one give less? And it's not his. It's not his to begin with. The Trunusafus Harasha asked Rabbi Akiva, he said, why do you give charity? If Hashem wanted to give him, he would have gave it to them. Kinira, they don't deserve it. That's what he said to Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva told him, it's exactly the opposite. Hashem gave us to give us the schus. He could give it to him direct. He doesn't need us. But he wanted to give us the opportunity of the mitzvah of giving it to him. So tzedakah is tzedek. It's not yours to begin with. You have it as a pikadon. You are a nifkad. What is a pikadon? It's just put in your guardianship. It's like in the bank by you, just you could guard it and give it to put it in the proper place. So when you give it, you set the table straight. If you hold it, it wasn't yours. It's an offer. It's an avel. It's crooked. Because you shouldn't have one more than him. When you give it to him, you equalize the tables. You make tzedek. You make yashus. That's why tzedakah in Lashon HaKodesh is called tzedakah. It's tzedek. And not to give tzedakah. You're not being an extra nice guy. You're just doing tzedek. That's why it's called tzedakah. And that's why it has in common the same word with tzaddik. What is a tzaddik? A tzaddik is, he doesn't take to himself. Noach is tzaddik. Noach is tzaddik, what do we mean? Let me explain. The opposite of the Dora Mabel, Noach is called a tzaddik. That was the language that Torah uses for Noach. In order to emphasize that Noach was the antithesis, he was the opposite of Dora Mabel. So the Torah says he's a tzaddik. What was the chet of Dora Mabel? Get it, steal it. They took for themselves what's not theirs. A tzaddik, the gezel is a very broad term. Of course, we think of gezel in terms of stealing money from somebody else. But is our facilities, our talents, all what we're given by Hashem, is it ours? Is our breathing ours? Is our body ours? Is our life ours? It's given to us by Hashem. So Hashem tells us how to use it. Those are the mitzvahs. A tzaddik doesn't take from himself. He understands that everything that he's given by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, these are kelim. These are tools to serve Hashem. They're not his. So he's a tzaddik. Tzaddik, tzedek. He doesn't steal the things away which Hashem gave him for his own opportunity. It's the same word. It's the same concept as tzedakah. The tzaddik does tzedakah the whole time. He's oisik b'tzedek. He doesn't take the things for himself. He uses it as a tool to serve Hashem. It's not his. Same word. So let's get back to the center. Now we know what tzaddik means. So Mekhtsas HaShekel was an example of this. We have something which is ours and we're told to give it for the kabbanas, to give it to Hashem. And what are the kabbanas? All the kabbanas symbolize, what's the korban tamid every day? What is a korban? Let's understand the concept of a korban. Korban, the word korban comes from the word karov, close to Hashem. What makes us close to Hashem? When we express that this world is not an existing entity. It's really the expression of the Ratzon Hashem. Like we say in Davnei, Mechadesh betuvay b'chol yoyim tovin ma'aseh bereishis. Every second Hashem is renewing the world, yesh mi'ayin, something from nothing. That's what the concept of a korban was about in the Beis HaMikdash. You take an object of essence, and what do you do with it? You burn it, turn it into ashes, and make it into nothing for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what are you expressing with a korban? You're expressing exactly this concept, that the world is yesh mi'ayin. You take a yesh, and you say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's ayin, it's nothing. Bria is HaKadosh Baruch Hu made ayin, he made yesh mi'ayin, he made something out of nothing. And we say, the Bria belongs to the Bari Elam. We take the Bria, and we say, Rebbeinu Shem, it's yours. Here, take it back. We give it to you. We turn it in because it's really nothing. Without you, it's nothing. That's what the korban is expressing. That's why it's called avodah. Avodah is an eved, has nothing from himself. It all belongs to the master. Eved, if you learn in Gemara, mashikona eved, what does it say, the expression? What the eved acquires, kona rabbi. So this Mekhtsas HaShekel is tzedakah for kabbanas, for the whole HaShekel, to give everything back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, what happens when you give everything back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Who is the source of life? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you cut the world from itself, if you cut this world, the yesh, if you view the existence of this world as having an independent force, you cut it from the source of life, what do? If you cut the umbilical cord, if you have a plant growing from the ground, and you cut it from its source of life, it's mess, right? So what is tzedakah? Tzedakah expresses the idea, it's not given to me, it's not mine, it's to Hashem. So I'm connected with Hashem. Here we have the pasuk, tzedakah tatzil mimavos. Now let's go to the word Mekhtsas. You have the tzaddik in the middle. What are the two neighboring letters of the word, in the letter tzaddik in the word Mekhtsas? Which letter do you have on the right side and which letter do you have on the left side? Mekhtsas. Chet on one side, and which letter on the other side of the tzaddik? Yud. What word does it make? Chai. Tzedakah brings life. Chai. Now let's continue. Which is further away? What are the letters further away? They're not neighboring the tzaddik, the tzedakah. Mem is the first letter. Met! Tzedakah. Mekhtsas HaShekel brings the tzedakah, the tzedek, of giving everything to Hashem, brings you chayim, because you're mechubar, you're connected to the chai ilomim, the source of all life, and it's merachek, a distance away, the mess. This is the words of the Vilna Gaon. I'm just saying over the Vilna Gaon. That's what I said. It's Goin mi Vilna, Hagro, from the Gro. This is the words of the Valley. Huh? So it's a cute word. It's much more than a cute word. It's cute, but it's more than cute. Now let's go further. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKoyin, Heishiv es Chamosi, v'loi chilisi es b'nei Yisrael, v'kanu es kinosi b'soicha. So there too, why does the Torah say? The Torah says, give a Mekhtsas HaShekel. Why? At the time, there's a special time to give the Mekhtsas HaShekel, outside of what we spoke about every year. When you count Am Yisrael, so the Torah says, when you count, Kol ha'oiver ala pikudim, Yitein Mekhtsas HaShekel, ha'oiver ala pikudim, when you're counting. Because the counting could bring a magefa, could bring a plague, which is a shmuz in itself. Why does counting could bring a magefa? What's the idea? But let's just, in a minute, we'll get back to this in a minute. But now, what happened at the time of Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKoyin? Because the Nasi Yisrael, and they were chayte with the shamas, with the benois hagoyis, so it became a magefa. And Pinchas, and there was a magefa, and there was a plague. And all Am Yisrael was in danger of being destroyed. When Pinchas was mekayim the mitzvah of Kanoim Payimba, he killed the Nasi Yisrael, and the magefa stopped. So the Torah expresses this, Heishiv es Chamasi, he returned my anger. Let's analyze the word Chamasi. Which letters do you have in the middle? Mem Taf, Met. What are the outer letters? Chet and Yud, Chai. But what does the word Heishiv mean? Hashova, to return. To turn it around. When you do tshuva, you go backwards. He turned it around. He pushed the mess on the outside and he brought the chai in the inside. He did the same thing as Mekhtsas HaShekel. He did stocker with all Klal Yisrael. When he was Medivas Libai, this thing of Kanoim Paigumai, just the Arab, it's called in the Gemara, it's Halacha, the Ein Moirim came. If you come to the Rav, he doesn't tell you to do it. You can't do it. It's not you don't tell somebody to do it. It has to be Medivas, it's not a chiyuv. It has to be b'nedivat libo. It has to be from his heart. It's not a halacha. Ein moirike. B'nedivat, that's again of stocker. He was misoyre for Mesiras Nefesh to do this mitzvah, and that was stocker that he did with all Klal Yisrael. So it was exactly like the Mekhtsas HaShekel. Heishiv es Chamasi. Now, if we're already on the same subject, let's get something interesting as well. These Verta have many levels of pshat. We're speaking the outer level of pshat, and I'm going to talk about another word that have a lot of depth to them. But everything in Torah has different levels. So let's go back to the second pasuk in the Torah. You know that something interesting. It's on the same idea. The second pasuk in the Torah makes a remez, a hint, that Adam Harishon, even though he wasn't yet created, but it's remez, there'll be chet, there'll be sin, and this chet will change the status of the whole world, and there'll be a concept of golus. The second verse in the Torah speaks about that there'll be chisaron, that the world that Hashem created is not going to be a perfect world, because so it speaks about the imperfection of the world. 4 imperfections: toyu, vayu, choshech. It's all toyu is an emptiness, bayu is an emptiness that you can't imagine, darkness, tahim is an abyss that you don't see the end of it. And then it suddenly talks about the Ruach Elokim, the Medrash, merachefes al pnei hamayim. The Medrash interprets this pasuk, and it says this pasuk is referring to the 4 exiles that Am Yisrael will go through. Toyu is Bavel, Bayu is Persia, Choshech, we know we have the mitzvah of lighting the candles when we were redeemed. Choshech is the darkness of Greece, and Tahim is the golus of Edom, of Rome, which we're in till today, till will come Ruach Elokim. Who's Ruach Elokim? Ruchai shel Melech HaMashiach. And the Melech HaMashiach comes to bring the world to his perfection. And when he'll come, Ruach Elokim merachefes al pnei hamayim. It's coming b'schus tshuva, which tshuva is referred to as a mashal of water, says the Medrash, because like the pasuk says, Shivchi kamayim libeich noichach pnei Hashem. Pour your heart like water. That's tshuva. But the word for the Melech HaMashiach, Rachefes, is an interesting word. So Rachefes means he's Rachefes, he's there and not there, he's slowly coming. But if we analyze the word Merachefes, this is something interesting. Again, what are the outer letters of the word Merachefes? Met. What is the tafkid of Mashiach? Now the inner letters, what is left? You have, not in order, you have Reish, Chet, Pei left in the middle. Reish, you need a paper. You need to write it down on paper in big letters. If you have we need a blackboard. When you do these when you play with these letters, you're right. We need a blackboard. What? Yeah, you could get it in 30 seconds and be here with something to write on it. Yeah, because it's a fascinating idea, and I want to show some people Shemon Esrei connected with this. Yeah, I don't know how to translate it exactly. Hovering. Thank you. Hovering. Okay. The Ruach Elokim is, in other words, it's as if we take it with the drash of the Chazal, of our sages, the Ruach Elokim is constantly hovering over us. Like the question, when is Mashiach coming? So he answers in the Gemara, Hayoim. Hayoim today? Yes, but it's on one condition. In Tishmo. In other words, if Hashem says he's hovering constantly, just waiting to come, if you do tshuva, the Ruach Elokim Merachefes, it's hovering over the water, which is a mashal to tshuva. He's there waiting, just the tshuva. This case, he's hovering over the tshuva. He's just automatically the tshuva. He comes. That's Merachefes. But the expression of what he's hovering, what is his tafkid, is in the word Merachefes. Because the word Merachefes doesn't have markers. You say Merachefes. Here, if you take the outer letters of Merachefet, so you have the first letter is Mem, the last letter is Tov, so that's Met, but the mess is on the outside, like Mekhtsas, it's pushed away. The inner letters, you can make a word with it. Reish, Chet, Pei remain. You can make a word, I'm sure maybe sometimes you buy it on Erev Shabbos. It's called a perach, prochim. Perach is a flower. You have the word flower in the middle, and met on the outside. Can you tell me what is the purpose? Of course, the flower is nice and everything. What do you have in the flower? What's in the flower? What's special in the flower? What's the flower?
The ability to reproduce.
To reproduce. Is a flower the opposite of the concept of met? It's life versus death. It's continuity. The perach represents the continuity of the species. So what's the tafkid of Melech HaMashiach? He's going to bring about Tchiyat HaMeitim. Merachefes al Pnei Hamayim. The met is on the outside, and the perach, he pushes away. His tafkid, his duty is to push away mitaf in this world, to bring the world back to the level of Adam Harishon, to be metaken, to correct the chet of Adam Harishon. That's to push away the mita which came as a result of the sin of Adam Harishon, and to bring back the continuity of the world. That's the perach. Merachefes al Pnei Hamayim. Now, when a person is sick, sickness, man, we have a bracha, we make a bracha. Baruch atah Hashem, roifei chaylei amoy Yisrael. We want refuah from sickness. Machle reminds us, is the opposite of health, and reminds us that the person can die if there is sickness. It's not exactly, the life is in the middle, is jumping back and forth. Refuah is to come back to the normal, right? Let's look at the Rosh Tevis of the Siyum, the finishing of this bracha. Rofei, Cholei, Amoy Yisrael. I forgot to close it, sorry. Sorry. How do we close this thing? Here, Rofei. Here, Rofei. What's the first letter? Reish. Cholei. Ches. Then you have Amo Yisrael. So you have Reish Chet, and then you have Ayin Yud. I know the gematria of Ayin is how much? 70. And if you add to it a Yud, so it's another 10, it's to pay 80. Which letter is the gematria of 80? Pei. So how do you have now? So you have Reish, Ches, Pei. Beruach Elokim Merachefet, Reish, Chet, Pei, and pushes away the mess. He brings back the perach of life. Is that fascinating? Maybe it's a coincidence. It's just a coincidence, perhaps. Now, that's good. You got that? So now, we still have to explain why specifically a Mekhtsas, and why does counting make a Magefa, and why does this push away the Magefa? We have a few minutes. The reason for counting to make a Magefa. Why? Because Am Yisrael is connected with Hashem, and that's their chiyus. Like Avraham Avinu couldn't give birth till he got a special bracha, the Ma'amad HaTeva. Am Yisrael at their heart, as a nation, is connected with Am Yisrael, and they have a kiyum. Like in Megillas Esther, this nation, when they go down even to the ground. And when they go up above the Kochavim. They don't have anything in between, because they don't really belong in Olam Hazeh. They belong connected with Hashem. Their connection with Hashem is with their achdus, with their unity. Counting emphasizes the individual. And we emphasize very much the individual in Am Yisrael. The whole world depends on me. That's from one aspect. But the other aspect, but the other aspect is, if I see myself as only an individual, I have no existence. I have to see myself, I have individual qualities, but they have to become part of Klal Yisrael. I don't exist as a separate entity, I only exist as part of Klal Yisrael. To bring the Matorah, the goal of Klal Yisrael, of Kvod Shemayim. So, counting emphasizes the individuality. This brings a plague, Magefa, because it disconnects from the Shayrish of the Mishmas Yisrael, which is Dobak Belokim Chaim, which is attached to Hashkadosh Baruch Hu. It's Tzedakah, which is giving, it's out of oneself, and Mekhtsas, the concept of Mekhtsas, that I'm only a half. My fellow friend is mashed in my half. I need Hashlama with the other one. That emphasized, and it's together that this Tzedakah brought one korban tzibur, so that returned the achdus, and that's what took away the Magefa. That's the mitzvah Mekhtsas Shekel. I'll finish more now with one more idea. We begin Chodesh Adar with this mitzvah of Mekhtsas Shekel, because there's a parallel, like Chodesh Elul now begins in Nisan, like we say, the new Kabbanis, that begins the new cycle of life. Nisan is the Chodesh Aviv. Everything comes in now about to life again. After the winter, it's a new, and Pesach is Yitzias Mitzrayim. We go through a new circle. As like Tishrei is the month of Tshuva, going back to Kodesh Baruch Hu, Nisan is the month of everything coming to life. When everything comes to life, that's the midah. What's awakened is the midah ha'ava, Avos Hashem. Tishrei is a month of Yiras Hashem, and Nisan is a month of Avos Hashem. The mitzvah of matzah, all the mitzvahs of Leil HaSeder, this is all Avos Hashem. And like in Elul, you have to concentrate on things that bring Yira. The preparation for Nisan is things that bring Ahava. And the first Ahava, before even Avos Hashem, is Avos Yisrael, is a giving. So this is the Divas Halev. So we begin Chodesh Adar, Parshas Shkolem. This is the awakening of the Divas Halev. That's the Midas Ha'ava, and that's the first Hachana for the Leil HaSeder for Pesach.
Maybe that's why we only fill up half the room.
To know that we're only a half, missing the other half. Tzava Nafshi, not only L'HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzava Nafshi for the other half.